Hey guys, welcome back to ADSR FM8 tutorials. Make sure you get yourself subscribed to our YouTube channel. If you're not subscribed already, youtube.com/ADSR tuts. So continuing with this hardstyle progressive feature we've been doing this month, today I'm going to show you how we kind of built this loop, and we've talked through how we've kind of made this kick sound and these bass stabs. And I've obviously added a few more bits and bobs like you heard there in a loop. So today I'll show you how to make this pitch rise effect, and also how we kind of added just some sort of like hi-hats and some kind of snares to just sort of fill out the loop a little bit. So we'll start off with this pitch rise sound that we built in FM8, of course, and we start off, create a new sound in FM8, just program the operator section quickly to just get our kind of general sound together. So only going to be using 3 operators for this sound and no filters. They're just going to route straight to the output. So F can stay routed to the output, just maybe take the volume down to about 58, and let's take the ratio down to 0.125. It's really slow. Keep it as a sine wave. Key sync it. We're hardly even going to be able to hear it at the moment. Until we start doing a bit more kind of frequency modulation in here. So operator E, turn that on, and let's route this into F, about 37, and take the ratio of this down to 0.5, and let's use a key sync it, use a fifth formant waveform. That's quite a sort of nasally tone, the formant waveforms, quite nice for sort of modulating other operators with. So D, 0.5 on the ratio, and a sawtooth waveform, key sync it, and D we're going to use to route into E. You can hear that kind of subtly affecting the kind of tone of the sound, and straight to the output as well. It's just beefing up the sound a bit. So let's move to this master section now, make the sound monophonic, give it 6 voices, and take this volume down now. Take this detune off because it's giving us too much inconsistency with the sound really. And I'm not going to add any width. As you can hear, I've got this sample delay on the sound already. Just really spreads it out wide, so I'm not really going to use the pan on here to spread those voices out, so I don't really need to. We've got the digital here. Push that right up to about 80 to give us a nice sort of crunch on the top end, and let's just set the envelopes dead quickly here. Just put a bit of release out, and then just link the other 2 envelopes for D and E. And let's set up, let's go to the modulation section now. We can set up an LFO on the sound. So ignore this kind of like, this is like a vibrato setup here that's sort of routed to the mod wheel. We can ignore that really and just look at LFO 2. And I wanted to modulate the volume of operator F, which is kind of like when you look at what we set up here, it's one of our main operators really. So we can just click and drag up in this box here. I'm applying this LFO to the to operator F, and if we kind of drag down, get the LFO working in the other direction. So drag down all the way to -99. And let's control this LFO a little bit more here. Sync it. Select a sawtooth waveform for the LFO. Key sync it and take the key scaling and velocity scaling off. And take the rate down to about 29. So it almost sounds like it's kind of sidechained, which is pretty cool. And take it one step further, we can apply this to the pitch as well. Just gives us that kind of side chain, but also we're getting that like sort of rising pitch on each kind of beat really. So you can actually use the pitch envelope to take this one step further to give us that sort of that kind of pitch rising kind of effect, which just adds a lot of you place that on the loop and it kind of adds quite a lot of intensity to kind of like your loop if you're just sort of doing a build up and stuff. So tempo sync this pitch envelope, apply, send about 49 for the envelope amount being sent to this pitch envelope, and then let's just set this up here. Check the motor's SLD so we can kind of drag this sort of like sustain point out. And if I drag it over to 4, the 4 here, we're looking at kind of like 4 bars. So it's the pitch is gonna rise over 4 bars, which is looking at here. We've got 4 bars here for this kind of like sound. All it is, this MIDI is just a sustained C4 note. So you can hear it rising already, and just drag this right up to the top, this pitch envelope and the sustain kind of loop. You can just sort of stay there really. It's not really going to sustain very much, it's going to rise up. So which is pretty cool little sort of pitch rise. It's great for creating your own effects and stuff, and of course if you wanted to sort of make it last over 8 bars or 16 bars, just keep the mode on SLD and just drag that sustain point out to kind of 8 over there. So just a lot of control over these sort of pitch rise effects. So with that pitch rise set up, the only thing to do now really is add some effects to the sound. Use this overdrive. Take the volume down a bit now. Really like this overdrive on FM8. It took a while to get into it because I just thought it kind of killed the top end of a lot of sounds, but you can kind of bring that back in with an EQ. So overdrive, I'm driving it about 3/4, tones on full, bass is on full. Take the volume down slightly, and then shelving EQ afterwards to sort of bring some, we lose a bit of top end with the overdrive, so bring some of that back with this shelving EQ. Gives that really crunchy top end. Reverb's going to work well on this sort of sound. And chorus delay to just thicken things up a little bit. Let's take that dry wet down to about 30, push the diffusion up, and we take some low cut out of the chorus. And the mod depth, just pull this down slightly. And that's our sound set up now, so which is just a great sort of thing to kind of place onto your tracks, to kind of introduce a bit of tension and stuff. And so the only other stuff I had in here was this snare, kicks in here, which that could actually do with a bit of reverb really. So all I did for this was just, with this bass stab, just copied the MIDI over and then loaded up a kind of EXS24 and I think it's Vengeance pack. Yeah, it was a Vengeance pack of snares, and then just kind of went through. Loop over the snares here. And kind of looped through really and just thought what's going to work. Settle for that snare. It's got quite a sort of full tone really. Sort of complements the kind of bass stab and the kick drums quite well. And also just some tops, some hi-hats. Just for a bit of high-end energy. And another thing we could do with this loop here we set up on this bus send, we set up this volume shaper here to just duck the bass out of the kind of kick drum a little bit. We can actually use this, just another way to kind of like shape our sound and just kind of mix things together quite nicely. We go to all here, and we can see this volume shaper over here on the bus send. We drag this over to the tops, for example. Click Option or Alt and then click and drag the volume shaper, and I'll put it on. Make sure you put it on tops. So now we're getting that nice kind of like ducking on the tops, and yeah, we could apply that to all the other sounds in there as well. The snare, if you wanted to kind of create a bit more room, a bit more headroom and stuff. So yeah. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that tutorial. I hope you found it useful. Any feedback you've got for us, just please get in touch, or any questions about this tutorial, just get in touch, let us know. Make sure if you're a Reactor user, or if you're interested in using Reactor, we're going to pass this Hardstyle feature and the sounds we've been making, I'm going to pass it over to the Reactor website, and then next month they're going to be looking at ways of recreating some of these sounds in Native Instruments Reactor. So get yourself subscribed to the Reactor website, nireactor.com, and also make sure you go and check out FM8tutorials.com for tons more tutorials on FM8. And yeah, we hope to see you again soon. Alright, cheers, bye.